Hey everybody. We're going to start off with, of course, my last video, which was on, it was a try to be pretty thorough prediction of the game one Oregon versus Auburn game. That'll be in Dallas, and there's a lot of views, relatively speaking, pretty decent support on that video, and I felt it'd only be right to come up with another video as soon as possible. I intend on doing the Tulane and Kent State together as a package because I know many people won't be really interested in either of those teams or what they have to bring to the table, really. So just like a brief overlay of things that they might bring that could shake up the game, and of course, even in Auburn's best seasons, they end up slacking against some pretty overwhelmed teams. So I feel like it's fun to discuss them, and I just want people to know this isn't just an Auburn channel. So if you do come here, just keep that in mind. It'll be on and off Auburn content, just as I feel like, but please do feel encouraged to watch the Auburn videos all the same when they do come. Anyway, to start off with, like I said, September 7th, Tulane. That'll be, people can do basic math. It's a week away from the Oregon game. Kent State, a game after that. Both will be at home. And I don't believe the time on this is correct. We can check right now and just, as many people, older people know, I don't really know this too much myself, at least the history of it. But Tulane was a rival of Auburn. I believe they were in the same conference at one point. I think Tulane was in the SEC, if I'm not mistaken. I know Georgia Tech was. I may be mistaken on that. But as with Tulane having been a rival with Louisiana State, I guess they used to be like decent. I don't know. But yeah, we'll be playing them in Auburn, 6:30 night game. So it should be a pretty fun experience. Usually our letdowns against those overwhelmed teams usually are like day games. So perhaps it being night, they wake up for it more. Auburn's historically been iffy when it came to day games. I guess comparatively iffy when it comes to day games versus night games at home. Um, so that's nice to think about. And then just to check out the history, past history, Tulane's actually up in the rivalry. They've they had the longest win streak, and 37 total meetings. We haven't played them in 13 years, so I guess it's nice to get some get back. Maybe tie that up in another 30 years. Um, and yeah, I mean it's Tulane. What else do I have to speak about? Let's just keep it moving. So we go on to Tulane's previous year, 2018 year, where they went 7-6. I believe it was their first bowl game appearance or bowl eligible season since 2012, the year before Willie came, or Willie Fritz being their head coach. I believe the year before he came, or so a couple years before he came, they were bowl eligible, and he came in, inherited a mess, 4-8, 5-7, and after receiving former LSU transfer Justin McMillan, as they should be knowledgeable about, once Joe Burrow came in, it seemed like Orgeron basically pushed Macmillan, and they had I don't. It's not a racial thing. They had a white quarterback that was really good. Brennan Brennan something Miles Brennan, I believe it was, and they pushed out. It was either Brennan or it was someone else, but they pushed out two quarterbacks for Burrow, and it ended up being. I thought it was going to end up burning the whole locker room up. They put out a pretty good season out of it, but that's just what happened the previous season. So Macmillan came to Tulane, which is pretty much across the about I think 2 hours away, a little bit less, and he did great. 8.5 yards attempt, adjusted yards, pretty much the same, 10-4. And as you'll find when you look at Willie's history, he's Georgia Southern is his foundation as a head coach, and if you really go over to is it I believe it's this article. He was running the triple option at Georgia Southern as they do, but at I believe it was Sam Houston State, he threw the ball quite often. It's pretty reminiscent of Gus, where like he adjusted his offense to the roster he was given, and so to speak, that's what happened. So I don't believe he's mainly. A lot of people think that with his name, he's triple option purist, but I believe he'll be throwing up a lot of passes, especially based on this new offensive corner they have in this guy Will Hall. It seems to be former offensive coordinator at Memphis. Guess who else has a former coordinator from Memphis at their team? So that's an interesting narrative that'll be led up to this game. I don't know if it matters if like because Dillingham was basically a play caller, not play caller, but he composed plays for their head coach. I believe is Mike Norville to call. He wasn't really a play caller, so to speak. It would seem that Will Hall had his a little bit more hands on when he was there, but that's just my guesstimation. It would seem though that they do intend on throwing the ball more and being more hurry up, no huddle than they were before. And if you look at the rushing statistics, you can see where the run influence comes in. 1,100 yards, 785 yards, running back being, the quarterback being involved, 5 touchdowns on the ground. And yeah, that's what this, it seems to be from what I gather. They like to be balanced offensively, which will show up here. They had 183 average and 218 average. Grad transfer pipelines gold mine for Tulane. Say a team heads for AAC title contention. It's crazy. I just come off a 7-6 season. You're already ready to go. Just build up. Although don't let me, you know, um, poop on his parade, so to speak. He has been going up every single season. This is a tough job. You're recruiting Louisiana State, LSU. They have, unlike almost any other team in the entire country, they have a lock on their state where they're recruiting in state. And Louisiana itself is probably the top 6, 7 place for talent. So for them to be locking that down as they are, Tulane's probably getting scraps out of there, at best. And if it's not Louisiana, it's Alabama, or maybe us every once in a while, or maybe Georgia. Now Georgia's a problem everywhere pretty much. So Tulane's, they have to go to the pipeline to get what they get, and grad transfer pipeline. It makes sense. And they're getting good talent. Justin McMillan was, I believe, a 4-star coming out. Jalen McCleskey was supposed to be the best receiver for Oklahoma State last year. I know for a fact I have him on my fantasy team. He ended up being very disappointing, but he's supposed to be pretty talented, and that's a team that breeds very talented receivers. Defensive ends, guards. So with that being said, it's evident they have a lot of they're gonna have a lot of pieces they're trying to put together here because a lot of these guys aren't isn't they're not in the system yet. McMillan's already there, but a lot of these other guys are just coming in now and trying to trying to figure out everything. So I guess moving on from that, it's not really too much else I need to say about Tulane other than my prediction for that game. I believe that if we want to win this game, McMillan being a dual threat quarterback as he does appear to be, and being a very inaccurate quarterback as well, it's probably what's a good game comparison to compare this to. There's a game last year we played, I believe it was Alabama State, I want to say, and the guy at Alabama State had a quarterback was a crazy good around the edges. As soon as he got on the edges, he could make something happen. But he was horrible throwing the ball, and we let him. I don't want to say we let. He got a couple of really tight passes through in the first quarter. I want to say, and it was a close game in the first quarter. I can pull that up. After the first quarter, I want to say maybe like the first half of the first quarter, they just shut it down. He had a couple of deep balls, but it was pretty much shut down after that. They just contained the edges. They made him throw constantly. He threw for 2 picks. And then on defensive end, on their defensive end, on the offensive end, I should say, they just made it light work, really. It was, they could run inside, outside. Shivers was literally just cutting through the inside. He was unstoppable. Their guys were too undersized to contain Sean Shivers, which is no disrespect to Sean Shivers. Elite metrics as far as, build goes. But if Sean Shivers is like just bucking off your players, that means you're not very, good defensively. And I would expect the same out of Tulane. I'd already closed their schedule, but I don't think they're going to be able to hold our running backs on the edges. I believe if Short doesn't play game one, I don't think he'll play to the Texas A&M game. Which I mean that makes sense. Why would you need him against either of these two teams I'm about to mention? But I just think it's important to keep guys on the edges because you want to get the game over quick. You want to get the touchdowns over with. You want to get the good guys out quickly, and that's what I think will happen. I could see. So we'll have. I predict we'll have Joey in for about a quarter, and I think Bo Nix will get the rest of the game. I think that we'll be running. I don't want to say a two quarterback system, but something close to that in the two games after the Oregon opener. And I definitely think that whoever doesn't start in Oregon will probably get the majority of snaps against Alabama, not Alabama State, against Tulane. Because that just makes sense to me. I mean, if you're trying to still figure out guys going forward, from what I can tell, Gus already knows who he wants to start, but I don't think Gus knows concretely who can start the rest of the season. So, I mean, you might as well give him a burn against a team like Tulane. I think Bo will be getting about 2.5 quarters worth of snaps, and I think it'll actually be like live action running the game plan against real resistance type of snaps because you don't want to get either hurt, but you do want to know what you got out of either. And I think Booby will be getting not that many snaps this year, like not 25, 30, something like that. I think it'll be like around 17, 18. So you'll probably see a lot of Cam Martin. Just to, he's a senior. Gus loves seniors, so he'll be probably trying to see what he can get out of Cam. Let him have a good day. Shivers should probably get some decent burn in this game. He should. I don't know how Gus will treat Shivers this season, but you got an all-world talent speed-wise, and it makes sense to give him some time. And I think either DJ, more than likely DJ, or what's his name, Mark Anthony Richards will be getting quite a few snaps in this game because you want to see, especially DJ. They love DJ. You want to see what you can get out of those two running backs because they'll be, from 2 years and now, they'll be the future. Booby should be gone after 2020, and Cam will be gone this season, obviously. So those two have to be taking up the mantle, and I think it'll be DJ probably getting. DJ will have a stat line like this right here. This Shiver stat line, that'll be DJ Williams. He's the future for all intents and purposes. So moving on from that, score, I'll say Auburn 53, Tulane 12. So I'll try to make this Kent production a little bit quicker. There are traditional triple option in and out type of teams. Statistically, all triple option teams for the most part are having to balance out a little bit more. And Kent State is no difference. It's not like almost none except the ones that like run it religiously are able to just run it every play and just keep it moving. That's just not how they work anymore. They're a little bit more diverse. And what makes this interesting is that they have Woody Barrett, a former Auburn product. All right, I'm back. I just wanted to look over some of the articles before I continue going on. I couldn't find out, how Woody Barrett was coming out of high school. I believe he was a 4-star. But as a JUCO prospect, he was the 73rd JUCO prospect, top 5 dual threat, which, that kind of doesn't mean as much as it will come out of high school. But as a JUCO quarterback, he was decent. He was decent. I believe he was our... we were his only official visit, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that tells you he was a lowly recruited quarterback. He just really loved Auburn. I don't know, but 6'2", 225. It's a pretty paused, thick frame for a quarterback, but for his style of play, it makes a lot of sense. Threw for 2,340 yards, rushed for 503, 18 touchdowns. That's pretty good when you're playing for a 2-10 team. I mean, especially when you're probably one of the main threats on the entire roster. You're doing a lot. They played 3 FBS or Power 5 teams, my bad. And, returned 13 total starters. Expect Kent State to at least double his win total this year. I guess a pretty hopeful year for them, but it is their head coach's second year. So, I mean, your first year, you just don't expect to do too good. I know we are kind of the exception to that rule, but Obviously that flamed out because the foundation wasn't there. We didn't set the foundation for future success, and typically many teams have bad first years. It makes sense. And going 1-7 in the MAC, there's pretty much like only so much you can realistically build off of 1-7 in the MAC conference. So don't expect them to come out and beat the heck out of Auburn. I mean, it's just not going to happen. But we look at what they're trying to build. Sean Lewis is a very offensive minded guy. You look at his article here from Kent State themselves. 2008 campaign saw the Flashes improve in scoring offense by 11.2 points per game and 108 yards. Beat the heck out of Howard. Kent State posted more than 50 points for the first time since 2008. That's incredible. Honestly, that's incredible. Fifth ranked recruiting class in the MAC. 2019 class, fourth best in the conference. Pretty thorough coordinator career. Played under Dino Babbers. One of the most electrifying offenses in the whole nation, really. They're as balanced as you'll find as far as much of a threat goes. Dino Babbers has done an incredible job. And any product under him, would I feel be very worthy to have, I believe. And played under Barry Alvarez. Wow, he's young. That's crazy. So he played under Barry Alvarez about a decade ago. And then, 2015, coached under Bowling Green. That's where he went from one MAC team to another MAC team. I guess that's a slight, upward movement. The youngest head coach in the FBS. And he also coached under Dino at Eastern Illinois. I was thinking about Jordan Lynch at Northern Illinois. That was a really good team. But yeah, moving on from that, So for them, just having a positive, touchdown to int ratio is incredible, which he did do. His completion is, it's better than Justin McMillan's. He doesn't throw very far, it would seem. So to have the arm strength that I know he has, and to not throw very far, it means he's either inaccurate or the receivers weren't very good last year. But he had the most rushing attempts on the team, only 3.1. So I guess he was like the short yardage, while this guy was, these two were probably long yardage type of guys. 3 people with over 100 yards attempted. That's pretty good. As far as receiving goes, I mean, this, couple of 500-yard guys. One guy about 500. Pretty solid, I feel like. Let's see. Let's go back to... Okay, so we already read about Woody. I hope Woody's doing good. He's like a nice guy. The quarterback room just got too big for him, There's just too many people. Could Miss Kent State have the best receiving core in the MAC? I don't know. It's just they're pretty balanced, They're looking for a 5-7. Okay. It could be a pretty decent opponent. I don't see, what we should worry about per se with that game being. Let's check out what time that game is. Kent State versus Auburn. Oh, another night game. Oh yes. See, I had Kent State penciled in as our tough gimme game. Amongst those, I believe it should be these two and then one in November behind the Alabama game. The Cake games, as they call them. I had Kent State penciled in because of Woody Barrett and triple option offense, but I don't know. At night game, it's hard to beat Auburn in a night game at home. It really is. So let's talk about the receiving core for a second, because that's who I think all Auburn fans want to really see explode out of all the skill position units as the receivers, because we really do, and this could be a season where that should happen. Seth Williams is going to be, I guess, your WR1, your wide receiver 1. Schwartz he won't be 100% by this point, but Eli Stove should be, okay. I got Seth being wide receiver 1 for this game and dropping about 100 115 yards. I see Stove getting about 5 touches and making about, let me go 60 yards out of that happen. And then I see Matthew Hill, tight end slash halfback position, gets 1 touchdown. Matthew Hill and Will Hastings combined for about 95 yards. And then Salcano gets a couple of touches. That's what I see. I usually make offensive predictions because they're easier. Defensive predictions. Why do I keep on doing that? Predictions are a little bit harder because it's just hard to know like what can happen statistically. Obviously, you can say they're gonna do good because I mean they should do good. I guess like if I had to make some, Nick Cole will probably still be doing inside tackle at that point, and I think T.D. Moultrie and there's one more name I'm trying to think about, but I can't get off the top of my head. Maybe Big Cat Brian, he'll do good. Jaron Handy, that's what I was thinking about. Jaron Handy will probably get 1.5 sacks. I'll say 1.5 sacks. Noah Ibnagi, I swear to God I know how to say it. I just messed it up. I'm not even gonna try it again because I know I'm gonna mess it up again. But Noah Igbenagin. I've said it correctly before. I don't know why I can't say it on camera. Noah would get. He'll let up 1 catch the whole game. He'll let up 1. And Christian Tutt will probably be playing outside corner to that point. I believe that Javars will be playing nickelback. And I think Tutt will allow 4 catches on him. That's my predictions. And for the score, I don't know. I mean, you can go into the Tulane game knowing that you don't have to play anybody the next week. You can do whatever you need to do, beat them up however you want to, play whatever you want to play to, because you have a week off to rest guys. The A&M game, you're tied up for that. You're tight end up for that. You're ready for that game. You're looking ahead because why wouldn't you? And you're preparing for them. And you're preparing guys that are hurt for them. You're preparing important guys to not play because you know you're going to play a tough, I believe it is in A&M. So, it's a lot of factors that go into who you're going to play in a game such as this one. So I think it's going to be a lot closer than a Tulane game. I'd say, even though Tulane's a better team, I think Auburn will try to be a little bit better for that game. Give me 49-16. 49-16. 16 won't feel good. I think it'll be a shutout for most of the game, but the third team, I think it'll get 1 surprise touchdown on the first team because the first team will be looking ahead. The first team will start trying hard again, and then the third team will give up a couple of points. That's my prediction. I think it'll be 3-0 going into A&M, and I think that's where a lot of the championship hopes should start. I mean, pretty much, it should just begin there. Who you want to be for the rest of the season should begin there. Who you want to start quarterback for the rest of the season should begin there. Anyway, that's me. I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry for the length. Peace.